Ring of Stones, Portal to Another World, written by Alexander Laws, narrated by Colette Redgrave. Chapter 1. Summer's End. Summer was nearly over, and in a few days it would be time to return to school. The balmy evening air shrouded the city, enveloping it in a dark, motherly embrace, shepherding the last commuters home to their families for the weekend. It was still quite warm, so Harry carried his hoodie as he meandered aimlessly down the city's streets. He was looking forward to returning to school, which he knew was unusual for a boy of 14. The summer holidays had not been as bad as some in the past, but they could so easily have been better. Harry's parents died when he was young, and his grandparents raised him. Since the death of his grandmother, it had been simply Harry and his grandfather, who was himself now seriously ill. A nurse came every day to check he was still alive, as Harry's grandfather would joke. His grandfather drifted in and out of consciousness, and the doctors said it could be any time now. Harry pretty much fended for himself. He had always been quite a good cook, taught by his grandmother from an early age, and now had little choice but to put his culinary skills to good use. Returning to school would help to distract him from the inevitable and the worry about what would happen to Harry when his grandfather did finally pass away. Summer had been tedious, mostly made so by the usual taunts from Steve and his gang, which invariably escalated into a scuffle that left Harry with a few bruises or a cut. It was never totally serious. No one was ever properly hurt. Harry knew they were bullies, with complications of their own, which went some way to explaining their rather antisocial behaviour. Not that he sympathised with them, but neither did he particularly care about their personal issues. One day he would let them have it, though, he would often tell himself, knowing full well if he did somebody would probably end up badly injured, and it would probably be Harry. Aimlessly he kicked a stone across the empty road and arrived, as usual, at his local fish and chip shop. Like most, it was also a Chinese takeaway, which seemed to upset some of the older people. Harry knew, but he wasn't concerned. The fish and chips they sold tasted fine, and he loved prawn crackers, so there was nothing to complain about. Harry opened the door and went in, the scent of frying causing his stomach to gurgle hungrily. There was a short, orderly queue, which suited him as he had yet to decide what he wanted. Sue was working behind the counter, and she looked up and smiled as he joined the back of the queue. Harry liked her. She always gave him slightly larger portions than anyone else when he was alone. Harry wondered if she did the same for all her customers. It seemed like a shrewd sales tactic. Harry was clever, exceptionally bright for a lad of his age. Everyone had always told him. His teachers said he would go far if only he would come out of his shell. They had always said that of Harry, and he thought he knew why. They all knew of the losses he had faced in his life, and they assumed because he wasn't especially extroverted, he must be suffering from internal demons which he refused to talk about. Of course, the simple truth was he had always been able to come to terms with whatever life had thrown at him. Harry had many friends, and was certainly not a loner. He was better than average at most sports, but because he didn't excel at any of them, people would forget, and assume because he was intelligent he must be rubbish at football. He didn't even wear glasses, but there were those who loved to stereotype all the same. Like Steve. "Yes, Harry, what can I get you?" Sue's question woke him from his daydreaming. Harry looked about and saw nobody else had come in behind him. "How's your grandfather doing?" she asked gently. "Not so good," answered Harry. "Please, may I just have a small portion of chips today?" he said, quickly changing the subject. "Of course, coming right up," said Sue with a tight smile. She knew not to pursue the subject. "Your timing is perfect," she said, serving him a large portion of chips from a freshly made batch. She added a scoop of batter scraps in with the chips, folded the paper into a cone with the top open, and passed it to Harry. He paid, and with his change came a small bag of prawn crackers. "Thank you. You're far too generous," said Harry. "You'll never make any money." He laughed. "Oh, don't you worry about us, Harry. We do all right. I'm off to Hong Kong again in a couple of weeks. We don't give out freebies to all our customers, you know. Only a select few."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?